Welcome to URF Tone Tuesday. Welcome to Planet Earth. One half of URF Tone checking in. My name is Ela, MC. Represent. Hold on one second. Let me turn that down. I got the Twitch on in the background. I don't know how the comments are coming in, so we done this one time, and appreciate anybody who did get with us on this. This is a new ground we're forging. We've been on IG Live every Tuesday. Been holding that down for like, I don't know, a year change. I don't know the exact timing of it, but we've been, as our thing goes and evolves, we got a lot of good people in our ear saying, yo, y'all need to make the move to Twitch. You need to make the move to Twitch. This is being live streamed on YouTube and the URF Tone Twitter page as well right now. We don't have the capability to do it officially on Instagram, but NIC is keeping an eye open on Instagram for those who may have comments. The bottom line is, come get with us on Twitch. Come to Death Row. You know what it is. It's, URF Tone Tuesday. We here now. Twitch world. NIC. Say what's up to your people.
What up? It's the world famous NIC. Sounds good when you spell it. I love it when you yell it. You know what I mean? We here now. So IG family, it's a couple heads, live in the room, and we have officially made the switch over to Twitch. So that's what it is. That's what it will be moving forward, and that's what's up. What's good, fam?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. We see you in the house. Pete Smooth, the homie Paul.
Yes,
let
sir.
me close. I feel like I got a computer on in the back. I feel like there may be delays. I'm glad to see the comments coming through. We got a kind of like a streaming hub thing going on right now, so we're not like seeing it live in the Twitch, but happy to see that we can get comments here, so that makes me be able to focus on one screen better than having my eyes roam like a point guard on the break. Yeah, man, happy to be making this move. It's a good time right now. On planet Earth, it's a good time because we just dropped a single about a week and change ago. Response has been real positive. Of course, I don't know that we generate the kind of content that would trigger people to troll. Maybe I don't know what the future has in store, but it's not the kind of thing. We're not going for the shock and awe that some people are gonna get with. It's not polarizing, and then some people are gonna throw slander towards what we do. We try to keep it pure, we try to keep it funky, and then for those who get with us, I feel like they just do, and those who don't, it's more of a, we're not for you, and we'll keep it pushing from there. So it's been a good thing. Yes, sir, Paul. We see you. Appreciate the multitask, man. You're devoted, loyal, and that never ever is taken for granted, man. We appreciate that for real. So yeah, new music, and for those who know how we've been getting down, every time we drop the single, we got some nice visuals to follow, and NIC, we're connecting with with our esteemed director, Zammer, who's really grown to be, just fam. We've done, this is the third project we've collaborated with Xeon, and it's really a joy to work with them, not only as a creator and somebody who really has a knack for his trait as a video maker, as a director, editor, etc., but just as a really good person, and we cut from similar cloth. Why don't you walk the people into yesterday's experience as we getting closer and closer to a video drop?
Man, it's like with anything, can you hear me well?
Yeah, loud and clear. Good.
I think it's like with anything, with the creative process, it's like you set out with a vision in mind, and then you see your actual vision come to life, and then you have your tweaks, and you're like, it looked a certain way in my head, but once it's out now, then I need this to kind of look like this, or this actually looks better than I actually thought, and I'm sure it's like that with lyrics or as a writer, putting
Yeah.
together a set, anything like so now is the we had the meeting of the minds, we had the initial shoot dates, and now it's like this meeting yesterday was like, all right, now we got to come out with the fine tooth comb, and we got to kind of say, all right, I like that, I don't like that, I don't, we need to embellish, kind of heighten that, we need to color correct this, whatnot. And this is a very critical time, I always feel like, because it's the easiest. I even called you today and I was like, hey man, how in the meeting yesterday was I okay, man?
Yeah.
I know it's the most sensitive time of the whole process, because for on our side, it's all of our vision coming forward. This is the theme of the song. This is how we want this to look. This is whatever. And then for Z, our director side, and he does some of the editing along with his team. He could be really offended. Like, yo, I worked, and this is my artistic expression, and then we're coming in saying, well, that don't meet our expectations, or vice versa. So I was going to be very conscious of that and not come in like a bull in a china shop, which I can tend to do, and be real aggressive with my, like, I don't like that, or you don't want to use words like that sucks, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
not that I would ever say that, but just it's a very sensitive time of the whole creative process. So that's where we're at right now, and I know it's a time where you can easily be offended.
Well, as a testament to your maturation, for somebody who's known you for the better part of 15 years and rocked more closely with you, worked with you, gone through life's journeys and bonds with you for 10, your conscientiousness, your thoughtfulness in collaborative endeavors and things of that sort, that rears itself more than the bull in the china shop thing that you described. You're thoughtful, and I told you this over the phone, so it's definitely not just for the camera. You didn't do anything crazy, but again, as a testament to, you always got to find your tribe when you go through this thing. I found NIC found me. All right, now this is the nucleus. You know what I'm saying? So, and then as we branch out, and we kind of build upon the foundation that we've set, and just creative, goofy, fun, serious studio sessions, as this thing builds out now. Fast forward to the present, we got to get with people, and I'm sure any creative can appreciate this, can ride with this, but like, you find those who, you're on a similar vibration wavelength. You know what I mean? Like, and I think what we found here. I mean, fortunate. It's not easy to get good talent, but at the same time, it's easy to get good talent. By that, I mean talent is abundant. You know what I mean? Like, you can find people, but there's the thing that's going to separate, and how it works for you is, does the talent complement your expectation for how you want to present, how you want to be represented, you know what I mean? And what you had in mind, like when it's just lyrics on a page, a beat that's kind of a skeleton beat, like, and then it starts to come together, like, oh, I got a thought, like how this is supposed to look, how this audio is supposed to visually come across. And so you find that person, and then on top of all of that, you find the people that you can, be in the locker room with, you know what I mean? That you can, grow together, like through criticisms. And I mean criticisms in the most genuine sense of the word, not being harsh, not being a jerk about it, but just like literally being constructive. And a lot of it's subjective. It's just like, yo, I think it would look better if this, you think it's better if that, and that's okay too. But we got to be able to have those conversations, without feelings getting hurt to the extent that it jeopardizes, fruition, completion. Because, and I see you and I have those, have those moments all the time, and it's like, and I wouldn't say feelings. I'm not saying like I can feel it emotionally. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, I feel like, yo, the song would sound better like that. You say it's better like this. All right, well, what's our solution? How are we going to get this thing forward? We always find our way forward. I think that's the most important part. And, you know, I said it before, I'll say it again. Like, whenever we have those tipping point moments, you know, they are what they are. We work through them. And then as it stands today, I don't have, I don't carry it with me. And I can't think of one instance where I'm like, man, I still wish this sounded like this, or I still wish this looked like. I can't even unthink or what it is. Like I can't even revert back to what I may have been thinking in real time on some of those things. It's like, now this is the creation. This is the baby right here. So this is how it's supposed to be. It feels good, you know. But you got to be able to work through those moments.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think I've actually said this before. We live in such a microwave society that everybody wants results now. They want the finished product now. They want success now. They want everything to come together now. You know, I always say, like, even in relationships or like marriage, you know what I mean? You got to find a lifer, somebody that's like, you know, even, you know, because it's going to happen in all forms, you know, of life, you know, work, relationship, friendship, you know, creativity, whatever. You know, it's like, even when, you know, Rachel and I have disagreements, it's like, well, look, we ain't getting a divorce. We're not getting a divorce. Like, so we got to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, we're in this for life. And so
Yeah.
for us, it's like, you know, in this instance, it's like, we're in this to completion. You know what I mean? The group Earth Tone is not breaking up because we can't find a solution on a video or a song. It's like, how do we just get it into it? And I think the lesson that I've learned, you know, especially over the last couple years, and I've even articulated this to you, is like, hey, Eli, I'm not in agreement right now, but what I'm going to let you do is I'm going to let you fan it out. I'm going to let you complete it in your way. And then, because right now it's too early on in the process for me to just basically take a crap on it. I'm trying to keep it PG, 13, but like, I'm not going to crap on it because you haven't gone through the whole full gamut of creativity. And I feel like that's unfair to do to somebody that is creative. It's like, when I was younger, I used to watch Bob Ross, you know what I mean? And he would be painting a picture, you know what I mean? And then he'll put a line through the middle of the picture. And I'm like, he ruined it, you know what I mean? And then by the end of the show, it's a beautiful tree. And it's like, you got to give your partner, you got to give your creative partner, in this relationship, I got to give you the freedom in the room to be able to vet out the full process. That's the word, process of creativity. And then at the end, when you present it to me on that platter and you say, this is it, this is all, my idea is fleshed out, then I'll be like, I don't know if I like it. You know what I mean? And again, then I also have to leave room for myself to say, maybe I just don't like it. Maybe there is a lane for this. You know what I mean? So let me step outside of myself and say, maybe this isn't my personal experience, but Ela is also bringing a ton of his own experience to this. And there is an Ela fan, there's an NIC fan, there's an Earth Tone fan. And so can we find a place for this that it fits and I can get behind this and support it? I think in the world that we live in today, we don't have enough cheerleaders. Everybody wants to be a boss. You look on Instagram, everybody wants to be a boss. Everybody wants to be a player. Everybody wants to be the, HNIC. Everybody wants to, you know what I mean? They're like, yo, I'm the captain of the team. And it's like, all right, well, who are the bench players? Who are the cheerleaders? Who's running the concession stand? How are you making this thing go if everybody want to be a boss? And so I feel like a lot of times, especially in our relationship, it's my job to be transparent with you and be honest with you, but also to encourage you and cheerlead you.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are real testimonies from behind the curtain and how it goes down. I think one of the, one of the cooler instances in recent memory. So I'll tell you what it is. As we keep it real with the audience, stuff like that. It is, and that's very much the process. It's like, yo, I think, I think while we zigging right now, we should zag instead. Down
We-
goes Semi. It's every show, every show. Semi not built for URF Tone Tuesday, man. It's a Prince Akeem thing, man.
He's
He had
out.
to go to the Waldorf Astoria and get bathed thoroughly. um, um, so it it could be like disheartening to say, yo, all right, I'm gonna try this other way. Cool. Put whatever the time and the sweat into doing that thing. And also it's not cool. It's like, yo, I'm not really sure. It's like, all right, well, let me just show you better than I can tell you. Cool. All right. Now I just put the time and the sweat, and it's like, here it is. And you'd be like, no, I still don't feel it. And that's okay. Cause I would never ever want you to bite your tongue. I would never want you to lie to me and say,
I know.
because and I also know you sharing that opinion is it is not coming from a place of ill intent and so on and so forth. So it's like, so I receive it. I'm like, oh man, really? All right, whatever. But one of the and we figured out, but one of the cooler things, instead of me saying, yo, let me just show you and put a little time into it, and then let that thing kind of flesh out a little more and shit, was actually in the development of this forthcoming video drop. You said I'm not gonna give too much right now, but I keeping the details of it vague. It was like, yo, one of these shoot locations is like 2-3 hours out. Lives are busy. We got some other shoots we were trying to execute that day. What do you have in mind for it? Our creative processes are different. And, for the video, for example, you are, especially as it relates to video and all things visual, clothing included, still photos included, and certainly video outputs as well. Like, you are meticulous from A in the process to Z in the process. I'm a meticulous person. I get meticulous not at A. I get meticulous starting at Q or something like that. And so I'm like, yo, we should just throw the spaghetti against the window and see what's what. And I remember we're having this conversation like, yo, this thing is like 2000. What do you have in mind? I'm like, I just feel like we gotta go. I just feel like we gotta go and know and see about it. All well and good. You acquiesced. You got with me on it. You said, all right. And I remember getting off the phone with you in that conversation. This was the day before we did it. And I remember getting off the phone. I'm like, that's not sitting clean in his stomach right now. I know that. Like, I know that's not. It's sitting funny. But that never came up. Sitting funny never came up. Once it was determined that's what we're doing, it's what we did. And on top of all of it, it was not my foot on the gas. It was not my car. It was nothing. You did it. You did it. You did the driving. You did all of this. So that to say that's the team thing. I'm sorry I keep scratching this. I feel like I got an allergy or something. But yeah, that's the team thing on full display. It's like, I knew when we got off the phone, and I don't like having them kind of conversations and being like, when I know the reality is like, that's not sitting well with him right now. And at the same time, I've had to learn in the process to say, well, I gotta know. And I hate to have to drag you into sometimes what could be my messy way of being creative, but it's like, I need to know. And I appreciate you taking the twists and the bends with me, because I guess it just is what it is, man.
Yeah, whenever we watch the TV show Dave, Rachel always makes it a point. She's like, I always thought that you were more like Dave. She's like, I think Hila's more like Dave than you're like Dave. And it's like, I guess I can see that. But I mean, the point to all of that is, I think that I heard it, my faith and my belief system is one that I don't think that God makes any mistakes. And I feel like he puts people and circumstances in your life to cultivate your character for something greater later. And so I always say, sometimes he puts people in your life to smooth out your rough edges, and then you're doing the same thing in return to them. So, you know, I don't necessarily understand all the things that about you, but I don't understand all the things about my wife either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
from cultural, different cultural backgrounds. She's Filipino, and you know, so there's some things that, and again, we're even, you know, we have
Yeah.
different, you
Yeah.
know, life's opinions, cultures, all of that stuff, and so I kind of feel like there's certain things in life, and especially with the cultural climate that we're in, and political climate that we're in, that it's there. Some things I tend to be a very, very black and white person. I believe that there's a right and a wrong, but I believe that there are certain things that there is no right way. It's just the way you grew up. Some people open their Christmas presents the night of, some people open them the morning of. And it's like,
Right.
when you start to develop your own tribe and you get your own family and you start to say, okay, this is going to be this is how we rock as a family. We're going to open our presents at noon. Then that becomes your lineage. That becomes your history. That becomes the way you celebrate it. And there's nothing wrong with the way anyone else does it. So our creative process, sometimes I have to fall back and be like, yeah, Nick, this is not a time to be dogmatic or black and white. Let's just, maybe this is an opportunity where you need to work on your character, and you need to become more mature, and you need to open your eyes, and you need to, you know, and I don't think enough people, I'm not giving myself any credit for that. I'm just saying that I
No,
don't think
that's rightful. I'll give you the credit.
yeah, I just don't. I feel like we live in a culture right now where a lot of times people won't step outside to themselves and say, this person is rubbing me the wrong way, or this circumstance isn't ideal, but what am I supposed to be learning from this about me? You know what I mean? Like, because it's easy to cuss somebody out. It's easy to get angry at your boss. It's easy to look at all the situations like, I ain't getting paid enough for this. I don't have to deal with this. That person at work is crazy and they driving me crazy. But it's like, all right, well, God has you there for a reason. Why? Are you going to keep repeating this level like a video game? Are you going to keep having to go through level 3, level 3, level 3 until you figure out what you needed to learn on level 3 to get to 4? And that's just kind of what I mean. And this is a newer kind of thing that I'm embracing within the last couple of years that we've been working on this project. But that's kind of like how I'm trying to start looking at things, you know?
Nah, that's powerful. That's powerful. I say, well, the first thought I had that comes to mind when, in terms of learning about yourself as it relates to, you know, this partnership, and you say it all the time, and I agree. I say it just a little less than you, but I probably say it all the time too. But like the the creative, you know what I mean, the artist collaboration, the partnership, there are a world of comparisons that one can draw from from the married life. And you hit a light bulb for me when you said about like coming from different cultural backgrounds too. Because even, you know, there is that component. I think that's that kind of thing. And obviously I come from like a you know, varying culture household as well, you know what I mean? But like I think as it relates to music specifically, it's like we listen to a lot of the same stuff, right? It's all here, right? But then there's a little bit of things on the outside of the circle. It's like that's the Ela stuff exclusively. Hey, this the Nick stuff. So I didn't really listen to that. So obviously that's, you know, going to indicate like what you gravitate toward, what your creative vibration gonna be, and so on. And like, but I did learn about myself this. Give myself, if you're gonna put yourself in a position for critical feedback, this probably also could be said for like, you know, the release of music for to the public, not even just one to one to the partner and the you know, internal creative huddles that we have. But if you're gonna put yourself on the block, give yourself about 2-3 days to walk away from it before you come back to receive that. Because as soon as you do, I know for me, I can't say what everybody else moves like, but for me, as soon as I put it there, I'm like braced, I'm a little bit too, in suspense to receive anything with clarity. If I put it here and I just leave it there, I go and I come back to it a few days later, all that feeling is no longer part of the equation, and I can actually just have, you know, a clear and a present uh discussion about whatever it is that that we talking about. Um I know I've certainly had those learnings along the way for myself. Uh it's very interesting, man. It's very interesting. It it's like it's crazy too, and you got to take the good with the bad. And the reason I pick up the phone one day and say, hey, I want to do like this, and I want you to come with me. You know, you didn't hesitate, but the reason that started like that was because I received your, like, because for you to give feedback, for you to give opinions, it didn't start at Earth Tone. It intensified with Earth Tone.
Yeah,
Because but that's what the stage calls for. There's a time and a place for everything, like people say. This
yeah,
is a time and place to definitely not bite the tongue, definitely not hold no punches back. But when this icon and the world famous NIC is the stage DJ and we doing the show, mixtape hosting and stuff like that, there was a lot of input. So I'm hearing it like, yo, that's good. That's sage advice right there. That's a nice clean 2 cents right there. So on. First time you hear something bad, you're like, wait, I didn't want to hear that, But if you like what somebody giving you, assume that the thing that you didn't necessarily want to hear it all falls under the same umbrella. So 80-90% of it, it's like, oh yeah, I hear that. Or you put something and they're like, yo, that's dope, great, I'm glad you understand it, you hear it, you feel it. But yo, I didn't feel this one. Here's why. Wait, hold on. It's like, but you got to be able to receive that because if you know what it's coming from, and who
well,
it's coming from.
yeah. And I think with both of our athletic backgrounds, I mean, we know that my dad used to always say the worst thing that can happen is when your coach stops yelling at you or stops being,
Mm,
because that means he either feels like he's coached as he's gotten out of you as much as he's gonna get,
yeah,
or he just don't care about you no more. And
thanks.
both of them are no good. So he's like, when a coach is on you or reprimanding you, it's because he either sees the potential that you can be, or he feels like he can get more out of you. It's when it's that dude on the end of the bench that he look at and he like, I'm not even gonna deal with that dude. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a bad place to be, because that means that coach don't have no faith in you. And
yeah.
even when we first linked up, just as
Oh,
on what's that?
I know where it's going. Please share for the audience. Yeah,
Yeah. When we first linked up, it's just me DJing in the clubs and you coming out to the clubs, and you know what I mean. Like we had a little car session, and it was just like, hey man, I think your pen is way better than the beats that you're getting at the time. You know what I mean? And I feel like Now again, I didn't even have any intention of us working together or anything like that. I was just like, hey man, I see something in you that you may not see in yourself at this time, or maybe your core group of friends aren't seeing in you, or maybe don't even have the knowledge to share with you. I think, and I think what happens a lot of times with rappers, rap groups, whatnot, is they're doing songs, they're playing it for their internal circle of friends, and all of their friends are saying, yeah, it's the best thing, it's so dope. And then
yeah,
you put it out there for the world, and the world don't receive it like your circle of friends. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's something that we do, is we vet out people that aren't necessarily in our close circle of friends. The icy ices of the world, and the different people, the stresses of the world promote, prop those people, letting them hear, get a taste of it, and you give us honest input and be like, all right, that's one to grow on. Let's take note of that. You know what I mean? But you know, we definitely try and vet it out before we put it out in the world. But I think that, you know, we're also mature and ready enough for those responses to come back and be like, yeah, I ain't feeling this. And us being like,
oh, that's real.
all right, yeah, that's something we got to learn from.
That's real. One of the good things in life is when you're too busy to sit and dwell on something like, you know, we take it seriously, so please take this with a grain of salt, but something as trivial and playful as making music with your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as that conversation ends, we got other shit to tend to. So we got to go ahead and do that. And, you know, so that, you know, that is one of the, and that's part of the being mature is the growing responsibilities, you know, that kind of come with the growth of life. I will say it is kind of an all-encompassing positive result of all of what we're talking about right now. The you know, that conversation, you know, from that very first, when I was first, you know, you and I first connecting, car sessions out at the bars and stuff like that. You were critical of the production, you know. Fast forward, you know, to the next kind of dump of music, you know, under the Icon moniker. Fast forward to URF Tone now. I feel like my friends are supportive. You know, if I know if I call them, they're gonna be there. You know what I mean? But they're not gonna be overly supportive. I don't know that they're gonna be the kind of say, not all of them. Some will, but you know, they're not gonna be like, yo, the homie just dropped a new song. I'm about to stream it 10 times. You know what I'm saying? They on every Tuesday live, and to their, you know, they don't even need defense, but I can't think of a better word. In their defense, their fathers, their husbands, their full-time workers, they're this, they're that, you know. So they're my guys, they're my brothers. I love them, but they're not just gonna be like, yo, let's go crazy because I only got. But so all that said, when it's the Icon music, I may have cracked the rotation. And back then, everybody was kicking it more. Less responsibilities, more backyard cookouts, more, you know what I mean? Riding to the bars, to the clubs, in the car together. Icon hardly cracked the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember what it was, but there was something that I went to, and now it's less frequent, you know, less frequent that we all link up. But there was something I went to where URF Tone got a cool 2-3 in the rotation, and I'm like, and I know, given everything I just said, these are genuine ads. Like they were on that person's playlist before I pull up. Of course, they down with me. Most of whoever's been my fam, you know, outside of you, are rocking with you too. You know, at this point, you know, but in spite of all that, no, they digging this music, you know what I mean, with that bias in mind, but they digging this music, and that's been one of the more encouraging things. That's actually, like, to me, that's the guiding light. It's like crack the homies rotation because I love my guys, and I want my, and we share music tastes and the things that we vibed on musically. So it's like to crack that rotation means something more to me, you know. T.I. told it once, you know, every story got a flip side to it, and your disc ain't shit unless you click right to it. And that's all. That's all I've ever wanted to achieve, and in this partnership, like, we getting there. And I think that's the you know, that's the byproduct of having, you know, tough conversations, to have, you know, the longer nights, the hard work, the, you know, just whatever, all the craziness that comes with it, all of the madness that comes with it. That's one of the more rewarding things I feel like I've come across.
Yeah, that's good, man. I you know, just, you know, so I introduced you to this younger rapper this week called I Show Speed.
Oh boy.
I asked Legend if he had heard about it. He said, yeah, he's like, oh yeah, he's like a gamer, and he, you know, I don't know if he was like first on Twitch or something like that, or some gaming platform, and then kind of, you know, I don't really know his backstory, but I mean, we were having this discussion because I was like, this guy really looks like an industry plant to me. Like, he's got over 100 million views. Like his song is like to me, I didn't think it was the most creative song at all. And you know, after we had that big, you know, discussion, I was like, you know, when you're a younger rapper, and this kind of goes to the point that you were just making, you're trying to, your creativity, or you're trying to make music that's current. Your whole life is about what's current. What are people currently wearing now? What's current? What your life is always current. Everything is like, what's the current sound? What's the current wave? What's the current trend? What's, you know, all of that. And I think that the reason why URF Tone is slowly but surely starting to crack these avenues and getting played in rotation is because we're not seeking currency either way, current or currency, but we're seeking relevancy, and relevancy goes a lot further than currency or being current. And what I mean by that is, even from a DJ's perspective, my whole thing is always like, man, play the right song for the right moment in the right environment. So as we create, it's appropriate that a Feel Is Real is getting in rotation, and then on the soundtrack, when people is on a Sunday lounging and kicking it, and there's some real adult stuff going on, and you know, because that soundtrack is relevant to what's going on, as opposed to just current. I don't know how many times, like, you've cleaned your house on a Sunday. You probably don't want to hear Fetty Wap cleaning your house. You might put on some Shaka Khan and just be like, oh, hey, like, it's smooth. You washing the dishes, and you just gotta look. It's a vibe you're trying to create that's relevant to what you're doing at the moment. And so I feel like we're with our current single Energy, with Feel Is Real, with Get Busy, it was relevant to what, you know, I heard some people say, oh man, like that Get Busy song, like when I'm in the gym, that's on the playlist in the gym. That's relevant. Get busy. Like, yeah. That's what you want to do in the gym. And so I feel like URF Tone is really seeking relevancy over currency or sounding like what's current. And I think that that's going to go further for us than trying to come out with a song right now that sounds like who's ever current. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, different package of words, I've said more or less the same thing. I think it's the same bottom line aim. And my perspective on music now versus, you know, X amount of years back is the service. That's kind of like my chief, you know, operation in what's guiding how I want to be creative towards it is the service aspect of it. What's it doing to your heartstrings? You know what I mean? Like, how is this making you feel, and why? Back then, I just wanted to flex all the time. I just wanted to be like, you know, lyrical, miracle, hysterical, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like, go crazy on the bars.
Ela, hold on. Hey, real quick, anybody tuning in on IG, we have officially made the switch to Twitch. So find us there, URF Tone. We want to thank y'all. What's up, Stampede? What's up, Nicole? All of y'all good people for tuning in and checking in with us. But we are officially making the transition to Twitch. But yeah, Ela, to your point, you know what I mean? That's the reason why you was flexing, or you wanted to flex, is because that is what current rappers did at the time, and what rap has always been. And you want to be accepted amongst your peers. You don't want to be the outlier. You don't want to be the person that's like,
Perhaps, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's current. I see it like current versus relevant. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? So I feel like, finish your point, but that's kind of like exactly what you're saying, is like your whole intention for the reason why you wrote was to flex your pen. Yo, I can keep up with y'all cats. I'm as dope as y'all. I'm gonna prove myself. I'm current. I'm not behind. I'm not some weirdo in the corner. You know what I mean? Like, I'm amongst my peers, and that's, you were just trying to be current. You know,
what
else was going on? I'm sorry.
Nah, that's real. I mean, yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, you know, braggadocio raps are kind of timeless. The cadence in which they're told and the music beds that they're told over, like, that's the thing that may change here and there. But you know, I certainly gravitated toward, obviously being a lyrics first listener, like I gravitated towards those things. Like, yo, you just you basically bodied in a way that would like, yo, here's why I'm doper than the rest, you know. And I told her like that, and I love that, you know. But as time has gone on, like I guess another thing I'm mindful of creatively. Back then, I used to listen to people and immediately want to compete. So especially the ones I respected the most, right? The ones I admired the most. Yo, Jay just dropped something. He went. Of course, I would listen just as a listener, like you know, a few times through. But by the time, like, yo, this beat is crazy. Now my head is turning about how would I attack this thing, you know? And I was listening. I feel like I was just like all of the wrong signals were being triggered in me, not like overtly wrong, and this is not a black and white wrong. This is just it was not the best version of myself, the truest version of myself. Somebody who likes to be among my people. I'm somebody who likes to like smile. You know what I mean? So the music now versus then you're right. I was being current. I felt like I was in the arena of the sport of hip hop. How am I going to prove lyrical supremacy and so on and so forth? You know, and I would listen to everybody, what they were doing and how I would go about it, you know. And at the same time, I was letting them affect and impact my approach too much. Not only how I go at the track, but also like, let me emulate their style, you know, let me talk similar shit, but through my, you know, how flip it the way I want to flip it. None of it was like, none of it was just really like being quiet. That's the tricky part, I think, with music is you got to be quiet too. You have to have a stillness. You have to receive your internal like truth, your internal being, and then let that be the guy. You at a certain point, you start listening to music from the day you're born. In most cases, right? I don't care if it's a lullaby or whatever, or if your parents were listening to Shaka Khan on a cleaning day. Like, I don't care what the thing, you listen to music and then you develop taste around whatever age you develop taste around. And then at some point, especially when you kind of make the declaration of like, I'm going to create music, I'm going to be a writer, I'm gonna be a producer, you have to shift the gear, and it's never going to be an abrupt shift, but you got to shift the gear to say, I need to graduate from simply receiving this to actually now like letting it manifest, letting it connect with my core self. And then now let's see what that cocktail looks like. All of my input for the decades of life, for the 15, I don't care whatever your age starts, you know, wherever you started. Now it's time for me to, you know, give you my version. I've graduated now. I got my, you know, PhD, my, you know, that hat on, the special one, not just the square one, but the octagon joint.
Oh,
I got
man.
that. Yeah. I got that one on.
Right.
And I got this education. Now it's time for me to be a contributor through myself. And so I think this is like, to me, this kind of been the perfect storm of like where we at with URF Tone. And it's been fun. I was looking, you know, doing some admin work in the YouTube today. I'm like, damn, we done a lot of thematic videos. Like everything don't look like a rap video off the thumbnail. We got, you know, polka dots and a 50s retro, you know, star my lady and everything. You really, but this is real. It's, look, by somebody's standard, it's goofy. Fine. You know, yeah. That's cool. Nobody is for everybody. Except like right. Jay-Z and Kendrick or something. They special. You know
I've heard people say that. I mean, I don't rock with Jay-Z. I'm like, you don't rock with Jay-Z. Like,
crazy. Yeah. That should, they just retaliating on your Tupac stance.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yo, you swung in their gut, they go for their head. That's what they do.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but it's been more true, and that's been a fun. That's been a fun thing, fun
if, if,
ride. You know.
if I can piggyback off what you're saying from a DJ's perspective, because as you was explaining that, I got to thinking, I'm like, yeah, man, it's interesting because from a DJ's perspective, when you first start and you do a lot of pre-planning and a lot of listening to other people and kind of trying to incorporate that into your your sets. But you're doing a lot of pre-planning, you know, and you're like, oh man, I gotta play this. This is the hottest song.
That's
This
the
is the
part.
hottest song of the, you know what I mean? I gotta play this new Drake. Beyonce just dropped. I gotta play that. I gotta put that in my set. And you're so, you know, bent on trying to get the hottest songs in your set so that people perceive you as, oh, this DJ drops nothing but heat.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah.
It's interesting, man. Like I wish Icy Ice was around because you know, I know he's just a veteran DJ, but like for me, you know, it's like I started planning on my sets and you know, Rachel would be like, you know what, Nick, I like when you just kind of go off the cuff. I like when you don't, you know, and so what I started doing was kind of like building skeleton sets, which is like, all right, I know the kind of room I'm walking into. So I know they're gonna kind of be on this vibe. So this is kind of like my skeleton. But like my point to it is like, as you start to mature as a DJ, and once you get to that veteran status, you actually start doing a lot more watching than planning and listening. You're DJing and you're just watching what people react to and how they react and how the vibe is going and how the room is. And you're looking at the time. Okay, oh, it's 11:45. Like you're doing more watching. Because you already know transition-wise, you know, tricks. If you're talking about trick scratching, you know, the blending, you got that down. You're not even tripping off that no more. When you're a new DJ, you're like, oh man, I got to get this transition right. I got to make sure I'm. Once you learn how to do that, you're good with that. That's you know how to do it. You know how you want to do it.
Yeah.
As you get older, you're like, all right, I got all that. Now I'm just starting to perceive how this night is unfolding. What people's tendencies are. People don't come into a club and just hit the dance floor. You know what I mean? Like they come into a club, they might go to the bar, they might get a drink, loosen up a little bit. They might, you know what I mean? They might socialize. They might be meeting somebody there. So now they just kind of chilling, waiting for their party to show up. You know what I mean? It's like there's a whole way that a night unfolds, and you're providing that soundtrack for that night. And the more you start studying people and people's habits, you know how to facilitate the soundtrack to that. You know what I mean? But you're as a DJ not thinking about your blends no more. You're not thinking about I gotta get the hottest song on anymore. If you start watching people enough, you start saying like, damn, like, yo, playing Bill Weathers right now would be like super crazy. And people are like, what? Yo, you just played Rick Ross, yo. But if I drop this right now, somebody will be like, whoa, like you're gonna take somebody to that whole next level of loosening up and really enjoying a night on a different level. And so it's like you said, like once you step outside of that, trying to impress that circle and trying to fit into like, oh, this is what everybody else is doing, so I got to do it. You know, from a DJ, everybody's doing this scratch, everybody's playing this song. Once you start breaking down all of that and you start to get to a certain level where your confidence is like, man, let me sit back and actually serve the people. Let me actually start to pay attention to what's going on. You become a much freer DJ, a much freer artist, and much more creative, I feel like.
Yeah, I that take me to a kind of a simpy story for the public, but I tell it anyway because it takes me there. But like, my wife and I have been friends for a little bit of time, you know, before we kind of got into that dating thing. But when I felt like something was heating up, I was, you know, living with the homie at the time, roommate situation, and you know, of course, when you in that that stage of life, you're like, yo, this what's going on. You sharing your testimonies and getting feedback, and his sage advice to me steadily. And he said that the way that you say be a star all the time, you know, his thing was like, be present, be present. And like, I didn't even know what he was saying until it just so, you know, obviously we married now, so it's cool. It'll work. But I feel like I wasn't hearing him, you know, in real time. And then all of a sudden it clicked like, oh, okay. Just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I think that it's that very notion that you speaking on. It's like, yo, I'm actually watching how you move and being responsive. There's nothing predetermined here right now. Right now, we in this tango together. The audience, you know, and you being the controller of this party, it's like, yeah, I love that. I love that. I mean, and in a, you know, I'm a simp and I'm a dork too. In the dorky sense, it'd be, you know, like, you know, when you go to these corporate conferences and stuff like that, if somebody were to read off of their page word for word when doing a, you know, crowd address, versus somebody who got some bullet points just to let them know, hey, these are my tracks. Let me come back to it. Make sure I'm touching on these things. These are the 5 things I need to get across today. And then letting the charisma and everything else, trusting themselves, you know. And you're right. You got all them skills deep in the bag. I mean, you don't got to reach deep in the bag, but it's just they've been there. You know, they're waiting for you. And so I think that, yeah, I think that's yeah, your wife always got, Rachel got a good way of recognizing things, shooting direct, and she normally on point with it too. So yeah, that's another one of those. She on point.
It's definitely a learned thing. I mean, because I mean, you know, it's something that you got to be aware of and conscious of. Because I mean, like, you know, again, I think we all kind of are victims to our phones at certain points. And like sometimes, you know, she'll be conveying information, and I'll be scrolling and, you know, doing something on the phone or whatever. And I've had to consciously tell myself, yo, Nick, stop what you're doing, put the phone down, listen to your wife. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
That right now. You know what I mean? Not that I couldn't receive the information that she's saying, but you know what I mean? Like, just for another human being on the other side of that information to be like, okay, he's locked in right now. He's aware of what I'm trying to say, and he cares enough to give me his full attention. You know, listen, man, none of us get it right all the time. But, you know, if this Earth Tone Tuesday can serve the purpose of helping anybody or encouraging anybody or cheerleading anybody to do those little things, like you said, just be present, then it was well worth us jumping on today.
Amen. That was deep into testimonials, vulnerability. I think that's a hell of a way to kick off this new chapter. We on Twitch now, and we look forward to seeing this thing build out, grow. We got to shout out our Real Ones family. We need that raid love. We need all that. So, you know, come send that our way. In the house. What a pleasant surprise. Yeah. So we'll be back at it next Tuesday. We thank you for this Tuesday. And we look forward to seeing y'all next week. We out of here.